film, often you normally see the man coming in and swooping in and saving the woman, but like in real life, when I look at the relationships that I've witnessed through friends, family, loved ones, it's not the men who are saving the women, it's the women who are coming in and nurturing 100%. And saving and and they are the anchor, they are the knight in shining armor. Men see this and they're like, yes, I've felt that. I've felt that love, whether it be maternal love, romantic love, platonic love, I have felt that. And I think that like that's why this movie resonates with people of all ages and genders.
Blake Lively's legal representation has experienced a major shakeup. Her attorney, Mariel Gvernke, has officially resigned from the prestigious law firm where she'd worked since at least 2023. She's now joined a new, boutique legal practice and withdrawn from her role as co-lead in a high-profile defamation case, one involving Drake and Kendrick Lamar, where Drake, alongside UMG, is suing Kendrick. Despite the changes, Gvernke remains on Blake's legal team for the time being. But the shift in her firm is part of a broader exodus. 7 high-profile partners have left Wilkie Farr and Gallagher following a controversial settlement with Donald Trump. This followed executive orders issued by Trump targeting firms that had investigated him or challenged his policies. The executive orders restricted these firms from conducting federal business, effectively pressuring them into compliance. Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, whose partner Doug Emhoff is the husband of Vice President Kamala Harris, agreed to provide $100 million in legal services for Trump-approved projects and pledged to avoid so-called illegal diversity-based hiring. An internal firm memo, revealed by Reuters, stated, "We know this news is not welcome to some of you. This was an incredibly difficult decision for firm leadership." Reportedly, the firm faced existential risk if it refused Trump's demands. Since then, several firms have pushed back legally, with 4 federal judges declaring Trump's executive orders unconstitutional. Mariel Gvernke, among the dissenters, chose to leave over this settlement. She later joined other attorneys exiting Paul Weiss Rifkind Wharton and Garrison LLP, another prominent firm known for its role in Trump's Manhattan criminal prosecution over business fraud. 4 top partners left Paul Weiss in May to start a new firm, and Gvernke followed suit. Her departure is significant, especially to Michael Gotadl, a longtime colleague and executive board member at Wilkie Farr and Gallagher. Gvernke and Gotadl had led major defamation battles together. Though Gvernke will continue representing Blake for now, her transition raises questions about how involved she'll remain, particularly considering that the new firm was only just formed in May. Rumors online speculated Gvernke would abandon Blake's case, but current information indicates her exit was driven by ethical disagreements with her previous firm, not the case itself. Neither Gvernke nor Gotadl provided direct comment, though Gotadl told Reuters he hopes to collaborate with her again. Gvernke, once a journalist, has played a key role in the case. Her absence from Gotadl's side is already affecting strategy. For example, he recently submitted a 2-page letter trying to establish jurisdiction in New York over Jed Wallace, an effort attorneys have widely criticized as weak and unconvincing. Wallace argues his work involved only California-based entities like Wayfair and TAG, and most of his communication was with California residents, including Melissa Nathan. The letter attempts to tie Wallace to New York by pointing to actions of alleged co-conspirators like Belden Heath, Wayfair, and Nathan, but Wallace wasn't yet hired during many of these events. For example, a New York film premiere mentioned in the complaint occurred before Wallace joined the team. Other connections, like Nathan allegedly living in New York part-time, fail to show that Wallace himself took any direct action in the state. The letter's arguments hinge on assumptions, including Wallace's supposed awareness of Nathan's New York residence, despite his declaration stating he believed she was always a California resident. The argument suggests that because Nathan operated in New York, Wallace, by association, should be connected to the state. But Wallace's declaration contradicts this entirely, and legal experts doubt the claim will survive jurisdictional scrutiny. Moreover, Gvernke and Gotadl appear uncertain of their position's strength, offering to amend the lawsuit if the judge deems it insufficient. The case continues to rest heavily on Wallace's involvement. Blake's claims of harassment, retaliation, and false light invasion of privacy largely center on allegations that Wallace coordinated a digital smear campaign. If Wallace is dismissed from the case, those key claims become significantly harder to prove, and Blake may be forced to pursue legal action in Texas, where Wallace has countersued her. The false light claims rely on accusations that Wallace and others publicly exposed personal or misleading information about Blake. However, much of this evidence consists of public videos showing her own interviews and behavior, material that the internet repurposed during widespread criticism of the film's marketing. There's little that clearly involves her moral character or private life, and nothing that directly implicates Wallace. Furthermore, if Wallace is removed from the civil conspiracy charge, a major component of the case collapses. He is portrayed as the central figure behind what Blake claims was a coordinated campaign involving fake accounts and paid content creators. Without his participation, proving this conspiracy becomes far more difficult. That leads to a new strategic shift, targeting content creators directly. The latest theory appears to allege that creators like Candace Owens, Perez Hilton, and Andy were paid, possibly by Brian Friedman or his team, to publish anti-Blake content on behalf of Wayfair. But again, no solid proof has been presented. Even the recent letter to the judge admits there's no clear connection between Wallace and any concrete action in New York. In the broader picture, Blake's lawsuit includes claims of aiding and abetting harassment, false light invasion of privacy, and civil conspiracy. Each of these claims becomes significantly weaker if Wallace is no longer a defendant. Discovery would be limited, venue might change, and critical evidence becomes irrelevant. On top of that, there are issues with how Blake filed her original complaint. Some claims are time-barred, like the sexual harassment allegations, which under federal law must be filed within a year. The California Civil Rights Department, CRD, complaint also raises problems. Blake's complaint even acknowledges that all issues were resolved on set after a 17-point agreement was signed, undermining her claim of ongoing retaliation. Crucially, her attorneys never filed a motion to dismiss on these shaky claims, something they've done in similar high-profile cases, like for Vin Diesel. That decision could backfire if the court allows Blake to amend her complaint. An amended filing opens the door for all other defendants, Wayfair, Sarowitz, Nathan, and Abel, to file motions to dismiss based on EEOC and CRD procedural failures, as well as expired statutes of limitations. The broader implication is clear. This case is teetering on collapse. The attempt to establish jurisdiction over Wallace is weak. The reliance on vague or circumstantial connections to New York is unlikely to convince the court. And if Wallace is dismissed, Blake's entire legal strategy might unravel. Amendments could help her stall, but they would also allow other defendants to mount stronger dismissals. Some observers are calling for vindication for other parties involved. But legally, a dismissal, especially one based on failure to state a claim, is vindication in itself. Public opinion has already shifted. In the end, what's unfolding now is a lawsuit that appears to have been weak from the start. Whether it holds together much longer remains to be seen.